yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred.
Anyone familiar with combat sports knows that size matters, and the bigger they are, the more advantage they have in the ring or octagon. A boxer or an MMA fighter with a height and reach advantage can always tag the opponent before the opponent tags him. Therefore, combat sports athletes cut enormous weight during a fight week.
What weight do you walk around at?
About one. If I'm completely just kind of like bullshitting, doing whatever, I've gotten to as high as like 195.
Now, when you're in training, like when you get, like say you're 4 weeks out, where you at?
85 usually.
185?
Yeah, 85.
So you're cutting a lot of weight, man.
Although there are categories where fighters should be more or less the same weight on a fight night, those athletes who cut the most weight usually have the reach and power advantage over their fellow competitors, especially against those who fight at their natural weight. Meet Jacob "Baby Jake" Matlala, the 4'10" boxer who overcame his height disadvantage to become the shortest boxing world champion ever. He wasn't just a Cinderella story in boxing. By the time he retired, the South African held an impressive record of 53 wins and 13 losses, winning 4 world championships in the process. The heart and determination Matlala showed during his era are incredible. He is one of the few South African champions and was admired by Nelson Mandela himself.
He stood 1.47 meters in his socks. Watched by the late former President Mandela and Hollywood actor Will Smith, Baby Jake brought the curtain down on his 22-year professional boxing career on March the 3rd, 2002.
We will look at who Jacob Matlala was.
WBO Junior Flyweight Champion of the World and the challenger, Jacob "Baby Jack Matlala.
And how his career taught people not to give up in pursuit of ambitions despite the apparent disadvantages. Matlala was born in 1962 in Meadowlands, Johannesburg, as the only child of a driver and a cook. As iron sharpens iron, his father was an aspiring boxer who pursued his son into the sport and made Jacob passionate about boxing. The South African had 2 apparent shortcomings as a boxer. He was tiny and his arms were short. Being only 4'10" tall, it almost seemed like Matlala would play tennis on a ping pong table. Also, being that tiny brought another flaw, the power factor.
这场比赛是在1993年的5月15号进行的。
As he lacked a real punch, Baby Jake said he was never involved in a street fight because he was so likable that nobody tried to bully him. He was successful as a student, and after finishing high school at the top of his class, Jacob completed a BT Com degree at one of the leading South African universities. At 10 years old, he started boxing as a fun hobby, but eventually became a challenging puzzle for anyone, winning 198 bouts out of 199 as an amateur boxer.
WBU Junior Flyweight title. It was a fitting end to an illustrious career that has earned Matlala legendary status in South African boxing.
However, despite the small stature and obvious disadvantages, Baby Jake was so passionate about boxing that he would not let those factors affect him from pursuing his dream. Therefore, he decided to turn professional in 1979. Fame came to Matlala late in his career, but when it did, he embraced it and used it to draw attention to charities and other deserving causes. He exuded natural warmth and became one of South Africa's most popular sportspeople with his diminutive size and glowing smile.
Please welcome South Africa's little big man, Baby Jack Matlala.
Baby Jake began his boxing career in 1980. In Port Elizabeth, under the guidance of Theo Mathembu, the South African earned a 4th-round victory over Fraser Plaatje. Matlala earned a record of 7-2 before fighting Dexter Dlamini with the Transvaal light flyweight title on the line. He won the bout via TKO, as well as his next fight against Kirk Morris. On February 26, 1983, Jacob Matlala fought Mveleli Luzifo for the South African light flyweight title.
But this is a man who's held bantam and flyweight titles for Australia.
Good little flurry of punches coming in there from Jack Matlala.
And won the contest via TKO. Baby Jake kept the momentum and earned another KO victory against Martin Nkokoto. But then, on October 14th, he lost the South African light flyweight title in a rematch against Mvelele Luzifo. Matlala won the next 3 bouts before he was matched against Jacob Mazibuko for the Transvaal light flyweight title on the line. He won on points and defended the belt 4 times before losing to Vuyani Nene on March 15, 1986.
Look at how Matlala is taking a lot of punishment from the southpaw. One of the crafty southpaws from the Eastern Cape. In fact,
Matlala went 2 in the next 4 fights, 2 of which were caused by the same fighter, Vuyani Nene. This fighter turned out to be Matlala's kryptonite as he was 3-0 against the South African. Although Baby Jake won his next 3 fights against Jacob Mazibuko, Vumile Gomo, and Daniel Ward, his kryptonite, Vuyani Nene, stopped Jacob's 3-fight winning streak by defeating Matlala via unanimous decision. It seemed that Baby Jake was not bothered by the 4 defeats caused by the same person. He went on a fantastic streak, winning 10 fights and losing only 1, before he was scheduled against Dave McCauley at Maysfield Leisure Centre in Belfast, with the International Boxing Federation World Flyweight title on the line. Although the South African lost this fight via KO,
2 rounds completed, and well, the little man probably...
he rebounded by winning his next 3 contests via unanimous decision. On May 15, 1993, Baby Jake was scheduled to face Pat Clinton for the World Boxing Organization World Flyweight title and won the bout via TKO.
最终他是在对手的家乡成功的击败了对手，获得了这条 WBO 的次最轻量级拳王金腰带。
Matlala defended the belt against Luigi Camputaro.
With this guy for half a minute of the 3-minute rounds, but he can't keep fighting like this. Camputaro, it's Matlala's fight. He's winning most of these rounds. He's just chopping away at this guy. Another good round for the champion.
And both of them looking a little...
And Francis Ampofo, putting enormous pressure on them, winning the contest due to corner retirement.
I think he has. The challenger is not coming out. It's all over.
He defended his title for a 3rd time against Pretty Boy Lucas, but then was dethroned by Alberto Jimenez, who beat the South African before the final bell.
Now look at this.
On the new WBO flyweight
The belts,
champion,
and
Alberto Jimenez.
I think we must...
On August 26, 1995, Baby Jake reclaimed his belt when he defeated Francisco Mendoza on points. He then faced Paul Weir in Kelvin Hall, Glasgow.
Are picking up points with his longer arms and getting out of trouble.
Where he earned another victory and won the immediate rematch against Weir via TKO.
38 to Baby Jack Matlala. Ladies and gentlemen, Matlala is the winner.
But that's exactly what Kid Matlala thought would have to happen, and that's why I couldn't understand.
In the next bout, Matlala won a close split decision against Mickey Cantwell and TKO'd Michael Carbajal in the next fight.
You throw punches, George, just to land them without worrying about whether they're hard punches.
You got to do it, especially when you're fighting a guy who is not going to invest anything in, but let's see what's going on.
Once again, Richard Steele is taking Carbajal to the corner.
On November 15, 1997, the South African was scheduled to fight Luis Doria with the International Boxing Association World Light Flyweight title on the line. Baby Jake had another flawless performance, earning a TKO victory, before successfully defending his title against Jose Victor Burgos. The South African defended his belt again against Rafael Orozco before he was scheduled against Masibulele Makepula for the vacant World Boxing Organization World Light Flyweight title. Matlala lost that bout, as well as the next fight for the World Boxing Union Flyweight title against Peter Culshaw. Nevertheless, on February 17, 2001, Baby Jake was given another shot at the vacant World Boxing Union Light Flyweight title, this time against Todd Makelum.
Many high points in his career, but the high point really had to be that win against Michael Carbajal as both fighters tee off on the ropes now.
Matlala implemented his game plan better and beat the opponent via TKO.
winning a South African record 4th world title, the new WBU Junior Flyweight Champion of the World, South Africa's Baby Jack Matlala.
A victory that earned him another title on his resume. He ended his spectacular career by defending his belt twice, TKOing Mickey Cantwell in the first title defense and scoring a stunning KO victory against Juan Herrera. Being only 4'10" with a short reach is not only disadvantageous when controlling the distance.
Baby Jack Matlala, 4'10", the world's smallest champion. But
also, the power factor was not in Jake's favor. Due to obvious reasons, Matlala had to create a unique boxing style that could compensate for the disadvantages and be lethal and effective when going toe-to-toe with the opponents. Although he did not possess one-punch knockout power in his hands, he recompensed it with the consistency of volume punching. He was taking the middle of the ring and closing the distance, repeatedly throwing a barrage of combos. Baby Jake tended to keep the opponents on the back foot against the ropes where he was working their bodies before finding his way to the head. Keeping them at a distance was not an option because the opponents could always tag Jacob before he would tag them. In Mike Tyson's style, Jake was getting into the opponent's face.
See that? Sleep, do that. Sleep, and then do that. Ooh! Can you feel that? That's different that way.
Challenging him to a brawl. He was constantly throwing left and right and was not afraid to take a punch. Although he looked like a hobbit, Matlala could absorb much damage and keep coming like Michael Myers. Although the South African was not gifted with size, nature granted him great stamina, heart, and endurance. One of his favorite combos was a big right overhand and left hook to the body. Being a natural warrior with a great chin, Matlala did not have to do crazy head movements to avoid strikes, but rather stayed composed with his guard up, absorbing punches to the gloves before delivering some of his own. Judging by his record, this style turned out to be a hard puzzle to solve for any professional boxer he fought. Later in his life, the South African boxer caught pneumonia and was admitted to the hospital numerous times over the course of a few years. On December 7, 2013, at Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Academic Hospital, Matlala was pronounced dead. The New Covenant Church escorted his coffin into the Rima Church auditorium. He left an eternal legacy behind and became one of Nelson Mandela's favorite fighters. Only 4 days out of prison, when they asked Mandela about his favorite boxer, he simply replied, "Oh, it has to be Baby Jake."
Baby Jack Matlala met former President Nelson Mandela almost a decade before his retirement when he was nominated for a Presidential Sports Award.
Beaming with happiness, having been unhappy for the previous hour. The two friends seemed to relish each other's company, sometimes joking about their size disparity. "He always gets a bigger cheer," Nelson Mandela used to say about the pint-sized boxer, joking that he never enjoyed being in his company.
They both passionately loved boxing. Tall and short in their structure and had strong punches.
Baby Jake died 2 days after Mandela, who attended Matlala's last bout in 2002. They became so close that the boxer gave the former president one of his belts. Another great fighter has died. Go well, little man.
Well, I've come here today to pay my respects to a personal hero of mine, Baby Jake.
You'll be missed, wrote on Twitter. Jake's former promoter, Rodney Berman. Matlala's inspirational life story is straight out of a Hollywood movie about how an underdog can prevail over obstacles and pursue his dream, nevertheless. All things considered, being David in a sport full of Goliaths, and succeeding in overcoming disadvantages to become a 4-time world champion
A great win for Baby Jack Matlala, 4-time world champion.
is admirable and deserves all the respect.